Welcome back to stop number 6 on the World Surf League Championship Tour. This is the Corona Open. We're here at Jeffreys Bay. We've been on hold for some time this morning, waiting for that devil wind to die off a little bit. It seems that wind has dissipated a little, and we're just about ready to get competition back under the way, and we have a huge heat to kick off today's competition. Owen Wright taking on Ethan Ewing, the exciting rookie. Their first head-to-head battle. It should be a fantastic exchange. Ronnie Blakey with Peter Mell and 77 world champ Sean Thompson. Great to have you back on the show, Sean.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's just such a privilege to watch the best guys in the world on my favorite wave.
Mate, as surfers, we often like to think about the world's most famous locations and just try to imagine what they were like before their popularity exploded. You don't have to imagine. You were here way back in the late 60s enjoying this wave with no crowds. What was it like?
Yeah, I was here in 68, and the only thing on the beach was some bushes and some sand dunes, and it was amazing to come here at my very first time with some friends and my cousin Michael and my dad, and drive up here and just see perfect 4 to 6 foot waves and just paddle out. And I fell in love with JBay then, and I've been in love with it ever since.
Absolutely, and we made that move, of course, over time from down there towards the point section of the wave up to Super Tubes. It's so fast, it provides a great canvas peak for these competitors. And we're going to watch a really good battle unfold here. Ethan Ewing so desperate for a heat win. Only one heat win this year, and that came on the qualifying series. It's been a tough run for this 18-year-old.
It has, and it's been unfortunate because he's such a talented athlete. He's such a talented surfer. But I feel like this venue here at JBay kind of fits his style. We've seen his free surfs. He's had some moments of brilliance. If he could put one solid wave together throughout this heat, put some pressure on Owen Wright, I think he has a chance. Although Owen Wright putting his time in this lineup and looking good as well.
Definitely. I think one transition, Sean, that the youngsters have to make after they've been on the QS is adjusting to the wave selection required to win matchups against the world's best. And it's something that Ethan has maybe struggled with already in the first round. Doing some beautiful surfing, but not on the kind of set waves that are really going to allow you that time to open up your turns.
Yeah, selectivity is very important here at Jeffreys Bay. In a 4-man heat, the guys kind of have to be hungry. They have to be sort of scrambling all the time. But out here, it's a matter of just kind of being patient, waiting for the sets. You don't get one-wave sets at JBay. It's always multiple waves in a set, especially when the swell is pumping like today. So the guys need to chill. They need to be more selective, because you're not going to get a great score on a mediocre wave. Especially Owen Wright's very experienced. You can bet your bottom dollar that Owen's going to be picking the great rides, doing those very, very big carving bottom turns, those huge swoops off the top. And Ethan's certainly going to match that. You know, his turns are much more short radius, perhaps quicker than Owen's. But I think the advantage here would definitely have to be with Owen, clearly.
Really has those big statement maneuvers. You think about the approach of these two competitors, you can kind of throw back to that round 3 heat Owen had with Mick Fanning on the Gold Coast. Mick Fanning just slicing his way through waves. Owen Wright on the backhand, thumping sections. As a result, just edging ahead of Mick. So I think Ethan really needs to throw down some big moves here. He needs to round out his turns. We've got Kelly Slater just making his departure from the lineup now.
But I think
as you can see, very clean.
I think you hit the nail on the head here. At JBay, you need to really define your maneuvers, and you need to create big maneuvers. Small little maneuvers, half hacks off the top, are not going to impress the judges. They're not going to impress the guys on the beach. Oh, beautiful tube ride from Kelly there. You see Kelly's just so smooth, so artful, and very much in the like less is more. Very patient, unhurried, and these are I think the true attributes of greatness here at JBay. Just so casual, and then going for the big alley-oop.
Yeah, exciting times for Slater fans. Looking very sharp in the free surfing sessions. A great first-round performance. But he'll leave the lineup now, and it'll allow us to focus on the two competitors that will do battle in the first heat of the day. Heat 3 of round 2. And Pete, a crucial one for Owen. What a comeback it's been. End of 2015, Owen's in title contention. Doesn't get a shot at that title he'd worked so hard for. But amazing to think he's in a great position once again to go after that maiden honour.
And you almost feel like it was something so long ago that we've forgotten how amazing that first win was. But it was truly amazing. Not able to compete for an entire season, a very serious injury that basically we had talked about maybe even career-ending. And to be able to come back within pretty much about a 6-week period, had made such a quick turnaround, gets himself into a jersey, and he built through that event, takes that win, was at the top of the rankings, the Jeep Leader jersey, and it is a truly incredible story.
Yeah, I think it's one of the greatest comeback stories in the history of surfing, and it's interesting that Mick Fanning, a number of years ago, before his first world title, also had what was potentially a career-ending injury when he tore his whole hamstring off the back of his leg, but it sort of seemed to make him more determined. I spoke to Mick about it. He said he sat in front of the TV, watched those contests, and said, I'm going to be there, and came back even stronger. And perhaps the injury has motivated Owen to come back even stronger than he was before.
It almost felt like, you know, Bede was also in the same situation where he was in a career-ending almost scenario, and they both kind of battled back together and got themselves, and now they're you know, solid in contention to be able to requalify and maybe even going for a world title for Owen.
I guess the interesting thing about that is, while Fanning was making his comeback, you know, he almost got right to peak performance levels before he surfed in his first event. Owen's recovery has continued throughout this season. He's gotten better. His surfing's improved. He just had a beautiful rhythm and almost seemed to be surfing without the pressure of chasing a big result on the Gold Coast. But he, in my opinion, has really improved throughout the season. So he could be coming on at the perfect time. You
would think his expectation was fairly low coming into that first event. You know, oh, maybe if I can make a couple of heats, that would be really, really nice. And then all of a sudden, it just got better and better and ended up being the champion.
Okay, here we go. Owen Wright taking off on his first wave. Blitzes that first section, but carries enough speed to get out in front of this wave once again. So pacing himself pretty nicely at the moment. Really just showing a lot of variety. Now he gets the opportunity to throw something big down. And he delivers a nice little fin throw on that end section. Just over 32.5 minutes to go. The first score will go to the man in red.
What I like about Owen surfing out here, he's one of the few goofy footers where he does that turn off the top and actually accelerates forward. Not just accelerates straight back into the hook, but he actually accelerates forward, which is very difficult to do on your backhand. Most goofies, he did do a couple of free fall floaters on that way, but if you watch some of his turns there, he's got that forward acceleration, that drive off the top. Okay, free fall floater, let's watch the next one. He accelerates forward across that sort of really square carve off the top.
Just a great amount of control from the veteran too in the opening stages of this heat, Pete, getting that inside and dictating terms to the youngster.
And not looking hurried whatsoever. You know, that was one of the things I saw there. Sometimes you feel like it's the first heat of the day, you know, first wave. It's not a bigger set wave, so all of a sudden you feel like you're going to try and fit so much in. He didn't do that at all. It looks so well paced. It's not going to be a huge score, but good start for Owen. Just he looks like he's in rhythm.
Yeah, I like those words, well-paced, and certainly you need to find that rhythm at JBay. You need to be unhurried. You need to really have that mindset that less is more. The bigger, larger maneuvers are going to score a lot more. Two big, massive carves are going to score a lot better than, you know, 5 mid-face hacks.
Well, Sean, it's an honour to have a Hall of Famer with us on the commentary team for JBay, and we're going to enjoy picking your brain as you watch the really finer details of competitive surfing unfold from up there in the competitors area. But a big good morning to you, and we'll talk to you later this afternoon.
Well, I'm stoked to be here, and it's such a privilege to watch the best surfers in the world and be a part of the WSL commentary. So thanks, and I'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Brew. Shot. All right, well, this is kind of how we anticipated this heat might kick off. Owen taking the inside, Pete, and establishing a score and getting on the board first. But it's not a big number. But it would put a little bit of pressure on Ethan already.
Yeah, it's not even close. I mean, a 4.5, they're expecting a lot more. I mean, if you sat and watched this ocean from pretty much the first call until now, it has been pumping. You know, the winds were that double wind, which is really hard to surf, but it was really nice. There was a ton of sets. The swell is expected to increase. So again, judges taking into consideration what they've seen earlier today in that score, because he surfed it really well. I mean, there was a nice dynamic finish maneuver there, and only came in at a 4.5, not even in the fair range. I mean, that's saying that that's just less than average.
Ethan Ewing, the youngest surfer on the championship tour, and I feel like he is almost taking on that role. He really sits back. He's very polite He's one of the nicest kids you've ever come across, very humble, and he'll sit on the inside and just pick off those medium-sized waves during a free surfing session. He's not the guy who's going to push out the back and really push the top surfers that have been coming here a long time for those set waves, but this is his opportunity now. Priority is his. He can wait for that bomb wave, and I can't wait to see what he does with it.
Well, and that's it, you know, having respect, right, for your elders. I mean, it's part of surfing culture. You know, I've been brought up in my hometown. I'm sure he's in his hometown. You respect your elders. You learn from your elders. You give them waves. You understand that. And so in competition, there's some of those guys who have that mongrel in them that you kind of need to have. But with priority, yes, you're right. Now it's like, hey, it's a mutual respect. He's got priority. He can take any wave he wants. But when he gets on that wave, he's going to have to be hungry, and he's going to have to better that 4.5 by 3 points in order to put some pressure on to Owen Wright.
We've all witnessed it. We've seen the surfing that Ethan can do. Free surfing on the qualifying series last year. He was amazing, that very mature approach. But at the CT level, it just feels like with this run of 25th places, his confidence has been a little bit smashed. The Gold Coast, his best heat score total in a heat that he actually lost to Owen Wright. That was a non-elimination 3-man heat. But I just feel like he's going to reach a point, and hopefully it's now for him, where he just lets it go, because it just seems like he's been surfing with a bit of stress lately, worrying about the result, and maybe not as focused on just enjoying himself.
Yeah, how could you not? I mean, this is the thing. You're halfway through the year. You have not made a heat all season long. He's only made one heat all season, I think, on the QS too. So it's like, it's everything's falling apart, it feels like. And so you stress out. Why wouldn't you? You know, letting it go is easy to say, but it's really hard to do. You know, an example being, you know, earlier in this event, he made a mistake, and it cost him, and that's why he's in round 2. And, you know, it's just like, at this point, it's between the ears, and we could talk about it all day long, but it is super stressful. I mean, here's the rewind from what he did. He let this wave go, and then sure enough, Jeremy Flores gets a 9. Yeah, I mean, he took the first wave of the set, you know, and this wave, I mean, at this point in time, it felt like it was going to be a good decision, but falls, you know, makes an error there, and then Jeremy's on the bomb behind it, and he didn't need to do that. He could have held priority and been on this wave. Jeremy would have had this wave, and then here he is getting barreled right in front of him.
Second wave of the set generally kind of adds a little less water on that sandbar, so it does open up a bit for Jeremy. He was the benefactor in that situation, but I don't know. I don't think you can be too critical on taking that first
No,
wave.
of course not.
Incredible.
And the same thing, too, is that we saw those first waves sometimes were better because you sacrificed a little bit of size because the pace was better for the wave. But falling did not help.
Yeah, the mistake wasn't taking the ride. The mistake was falling on that wave. But, yeah, I really do love his surfing. I can't wait to see more of it in the future. I think he's lucky that he has the kind of experience that he can call on from his coaches. Guys like Tom Whitaker, who have had very difficult years in their careers where they battled to get results. I know Tommy had a year where he finished in last place. He backed himself on the QS a couple of times as well, but I just think that having someone who's lived it, who's experienced it, and can really just set your mind at ease is a huge advantage.
Sometimes it can be just one heat that can really change your year around. All of a sudden you're like, wow, okay, that's how you do it. It felt so easy and natural, and that's rather than forced and, you know, trying to create, and that's that stress that comes in. Because generally when you're winning, it comes with ease, right? But you know, this is a very defining year and moment for him, because it has been a very challenging season, and he's going to learn from this. And I hope it doesn't discourage him to a point where it just, like, you know, I don't feel like it would. But there will take a moment where he's going to have to turn it around and feel that winning feeling again, and get that confidence back.
25 minutes to go here. Owen Wright holding the lead at 4.5 on his first wave. Let's check in with Rosie Hodge and hear from the Commissioner, Kieran Perreault.
Well, good morning, our Commissioner, Kieran Perreault. This morning, beautiful lines, beautiful sunrise, but that devil wind can be so cruel.
Yeah, it can, and even the ocean. I mean, it was kind of slow when we were watching it for 45 minutes. We made the call to kind of go on hold for a while, expecting that devil wind to come. It didn't really arrive for the first half an hour, and there was a lot of good waves coming in, so we were a little nervous about that call. It did happen, you know, an hour later the conditions were pretty average. Finally now it's swung back around, winds are great, and there's some really good sets, so we're on. We're going to complete men's round 2 today, and we'll be back tomorrow with another great day of surf.
And we do have those 10 heats, and with the later start, can we finish that whole round?
Yes, we didn't have to get underway until 11 actually to be able to finish, even with 35-minute heats. We kind of knew that was our end stop. We're starting earlier, a little earlier than that, because it's just great out there right now, so no need to wait any longer.
Love it. Let's get the action underway. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rosie.
I'll tell you, it was a bold call there, because that half hour after we had, you know, taken the 2-hour break it was pumping. But sure enough, you know, the call there from the boys here locally saying that, hey, when that sun rises and it gets to a certain point, that devil wing strengthens. And there was a good 45 to an hour where it was howling up the face. Yes, surfable, but hard, very difficult. And knowing that you're just going to try and get round 2 done and dusted, wait till that wind kind of goes to the Butterley direction. The tide's going to drop out. It's just going to get better. We're supposed to have the increase in the surf. Roll the dice slightly. Here we are starting, and it's just as butter as it can get.
It's so hard to sit there and watch it in that
It is difficult.
when the contest isn't running, because we have had event days here in the past that was so much worse than this morning, but the forecast's still looking pretty good. So
I mean, that's it.
Just to get everyone caught up too, we're into the 3rd heat. This is the first heat of the day, but we've only disposed of 2 surfers in this contest, and it was the wildcards Dale Staples and Michael February. So for just the 2nd time this year, we've got the complete championship tour class of 2017 competing here at Jeffreys Bay. It was the complete field on the Gold Coast, but injuries to Italo, Kyle Belli, Kelly Slater, and a suspension for Felipe Toledo at different stages throughout this year has meant that we've had alternates, wildcards step up into those positions at various stages since stop 2. So good to have
the entire field
here.
Yep.
And we're going to see the majority of them compete today in the 2nd round. A little quiet after that first wave of Owen Wright's. Ethan Ewing just has to maintain his composure now.
And it's the same thing where, I mean, and I was going to ask Sean, you know, at one point, like, you know, you talk about and look at these waves coming, and they look so perfect, like how to choose the right wave. I mean, you can watch each set every time and go, okay, if the first wave of the set was best, okay, I'm going to do the first wave of the set, and then all of a sudden the second wave's bigger, but all of a sudden you'll take that one and it'll run off, it'll be too quick. I mean, how do you make those choices? It's crazy.
Very difficult to do. Just under 22 minutes remaining. Let's check in with Sean Thompson once again. Morning, Sean.
Hi there.
How you going, mate? Are you enjoying what you're seeing from Owen Wright so far this year, and what did you make of his start to this heat?
Yeah, I thought it was a good wave. I mean, it wasn't a great ride, but certainly he showed a bit of variety there. Some free fall floaters, not my favorite maneuver, but I love his driving style off the top. Give him an open face, and I think he can be really one of the first goofy footers since Aki in '84 to really do some damage out here. And Peter spoke about you know, what waves to select out here at JBay. I've been surfing this break for 40 years, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
So it's not easy, right? I mean, that's the thing, and they all look perfect.
You know, I spoke to Twiggy Baker last night, you know, the big wave king, and they were talking about JBay, and he said, listen, it's all about selectivity. So both of us were trying to work out which are the best waves to select. He likes the waves sort of more north, the waves that come in at the middle of the bay down towards the car park section. Those are the waves that generally offer the barrels. I like the waves way up at the top of boneyards, but in a competition situation, you need to sit closer in towards shore. You need to sit down in the car park section because there's just a lot more consistency down there.
And Sean, we saw you tap into one of those boneyard specials yesterday, a rare set. Beautifully surfed, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. I had to take it off Joel Parkinson. He's standing right here in front of me, and it's hard to snag a wave off Joel.
It's easy to share a wave with Joel.
Yeah.
First wave I ever had here at Super Tubes, Joel was actually showing me how to surf the wave just in front of me.
Interesting. You've got a roaring set coming down the beach. The surfers,
the wave choice.
Yeah, the surfers seem to be a little bit far out, but I think Ethan is the guy in priority. So let's see what he can do on his very first wave. Kind of the pressure's really on him. I think Owen, as an experienced pro, knows that the chances are, when you get the first wave, you've got a better chance of winning the heat. You're waiting for that stat from the WSL, but I'd say the guy that gets the first wave in the heat, it's about a 62% winning percentage. That's my guess.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it and get a percentage for this particular contest for sure. But no wave taken there from Ethan, and I don't mind it, Pete. I thought he did well to hold back, because in this situation, time winding down, easy to get nervous and take one that you don't really want. But Owen's going to keep busy on the inside. Just floats through that first manoeuvre. Has more to give on the inside. Not what you'd call a set wave today, but he's happy to establish a bit of a lead and just keep piling the pressure on the youngster.
Well, and I'll tell you, Ethan, he is smart, because he has priority. There has been bomb sets. There will be a bomb set at some point. And, you know, again, the pressure mounts, and it's going to be a point where he has to surf the wave well.
He just has to get over the mental scar tissue of falling on a dream wave in the first round. So he's got a bit to process at the moment. We'll see a replay of Owen's wave in just a moment. But Sean mentioned that he probably has as good a chance as any of the backhand surfers out here, Pete.
I would say better.
To get a second win for the Goofies.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the ability, he's got the talent, he's got the smarts. You know, this wave here, going to be probably similar in the point scale of his first ride. So, again, you feel like these two waves really shouldn't even be in his top two at the end of this heat, but you just never know with the ocean. You don't know what it's going to produce, and right now he's the only one with two waves.
Well, there has been some solid goofy-footed performances here over the years. Guys have come close to grabbing another title on the backhand. Mick Lowe in 2002 was second to Mick Fanning. As we see Owen's results so far this season. One thing working in Owen's favour, just the 1/13th. So only one event where he didn't make it past the third round, and it was a surprise to us to see that
Fiji.
happened in Fiji.
Yeah, I mean, even the 9th, right? So his two throwaways right now are 13th and 9th. Pair of fifths, a third, a first. I mean, that's consistency. That's exactly what he needs to do for world title contention. You know, you need to have those quarterfinals and above.
Just thinking about Owen, though, and when he has had some losses this year, it hasn't looked like nerves have been the problem. He had that interesting scenario, losing a fin at Mainbreak Margaret River in a heat there. But also in Fiji, he gave it his all in a heat against Ian Gouveia and almost turned the heat on his final ride. Just fell short of the required score.
I mean, he was a favorite going into that event. And that's also where you feel like, you know, an event, when you lose in that type of a, you know, where you feel like in your bones that that's an event that you're going to capitalize on, which is, of course, what he loves surfing Fiji. You know, there would be, like you said, scar tissue from that. But Owen seems to have been able to kind of handle losses really well. I think that's Micro and his camp. It's everyone that he gets to hang out with is such a great group that they can analyze those losses, learn from them, and move on very quickly.
Well, with a bit of a break in the action, let's look back on that incredible victory at Stop 1 on the Gold Coast. We're all excited to see just how he was surfing when he made his return.
All right, he just had a baby. Coming back from injury, we had no idea how he had surfed. I barely saw him. I think he had 2 heats in the QS where he surfed, or 3 heats he surfed in Merriweather, right, at the Toyota Burton Pro, the QS, just to kind of get semi-warmed up. But really, we hadn't seen him be able to surf, you know, on a consistent basis until all of his heats.
It's just a kind of a throwaway little piece of information, but it was pretty amazing who he overcame to take that contest out. He decimated the entire Rip Curl team. All his
he took all his boys down.
He took out Fanning in the third round. He disposed of Connor Coffin, Medina, and yeah, eventually got the jump on Matt Wilkinson in the final.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, it was all his teammates.
Yeah.
And they weren't like letting him win, thinking, oh, he's, you know,
no way.
He straight decimated him.
But even he said that there was almost a comforting sort of feeling in surfing out there with guys that he'd been on so many trips with who were supportive of his return to competition.
Oh, here we go.
And they've been supporting him throughout the year, and what an amazing run he's on at the moment. 15 minutes to go. His second wave came through at a 5.67. Ethan Ewing still waiting for that first ride. And he's going to take it now. Let's see what he can do. Needs to throw down some major turns. Pacing himself nicely. Out onto the face. Beautiful cut down. Hung up for just a moment, but might get some time behind the curtain here. This wave stretching out. He pushes through the curtain, but gets knocked down. And right behind him, Owen Wright gets an opportunity to push further ahead, trying to drop a 4.5 now. And he's going to punch through the back as that wave shuts down.
Those are those stretched out walls, really tough to make from that far up the point. You know, that was a little, that moment that you get caught just slightly behind for Ethan Ewing, pulled up into the barrel, but that wave was not far enough down the reef, down the point, in order to really truly open up. You know, because it started so far up top. Just unfortunate there for Ethan. I mean, I think he made the right choice as far as the wave was concerned, because this one looked like it was going to have the right pace. I mean, at this point, it felt like maybe he wanted to get a turn in. Maybe it would have been better just to get down the line, because right there, that little stick gets up underneath, and if he'd been able to get past that section, it would have slowed up nicely. He would have been able to get those maneuvers done, but not out of the barrel. And these barrels are really hard to ride. They get very small at the end.
Really hard to ride. Sure, they're not as gaping as some of the other tubes on tour, but they're very functional here. Sometimes it's the only way to get back out onto the open face, and I think Ethan was sort of forced to pull into that section. He really didn't have any room to move.
And then, you know, talking about those turns that Sean Thompson had mentioned in the morning, where they're actually a top turn that accelerates down the line. And backhanders, they have that ability to be able to use that toe edge and actually carve down the face and accelerate off the top. Again, very useful, very fun to watch. It's a great maneuver. Those were two of them that he did on that wave. And he was definitely moving down the line, but that wave so stretched out, way down into the car park section, would have never been able to make it. Not even the forehand guys would have been able to do that.
JBay, one of those places, Pete, where all the competitors love to stick around and really watch the event unfold. One of them is Matt Wilkinson, the current Jeep ratings leader. He's with Rosie Hodge. That's
right. Well, Matty Wilco, an all-Australian affair in the water at the moment. Yourself and Owen staying together just here in the cul-de-sac at Super Tubes. Give us some insight into how, you know, Owen was feeling this morning.
He's actually in a house a few doors down, but yeah, he's always kind of ready. He's I don't know, kind of the most onto a guy on tour, or one of them. He's always out there bright and early and looking sharp. So yeah, this is going to be an awesome heat. It's kind of had the curse of the contest though. The hooter went and it's gone really slow. So hopefully there's a few flurries at the end, and it'll be really cool to see Ethan get a few good waves. He's had a pretty slow start to the year, but it's kind of strange to see because he surfs so good and he just hasn't really put a great heat together. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully there's a lot of waves at the end and they both get to show what they've got.
And let's just talk about those expectations that we have for Ethan Ewing. You know, he made such a huge impact on us last year, and coming into this tour as a rookie, like you mentioned, that slow start, we're reaching that halfway mark. Is that pressure going to get to him?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the next kind of part of the tour really suits him. Once it goes to trestles, he's surfing. He suits that wave kind of more than anyone. So once he gets there, I think if he puts a solid result on the board there, then going into the beach break leg of the year, then he could be really deadly. So I don't know. Obviously the pressure builds every time you lose in round 2 or 3, and the people that you're trying to catch get further and further away. It definitely gets tougher as the year goes on, but he's such a good surfer, and I think once the ball kind of gets rolling, he's going to be going to start taking down the top seeds, because he's going to have some tough heats with his seeding, and I think he's the kind of guy that can be kind of a scary guy in those heats for sure.
Matty, thank you for your time and your insights. Back to you, Ronnie.
Thank you, Rosie. Yeah, some real words of wisdom there from a guy that has battled most of his championship tour career and now finds himself sitting on top of the world. Back to live action now. Owen Wright on a nice looking wall. Beautiful float there, plenty of speed to get down the line. Wants more, drives up into the pocket again. And just can't quite link that last section the way he would have liked, but just under 10 minutes to go, he just keeps pushing ahead. Owen counting on a 4.5 and a 5.67 prior to that wave. Ethan only banked a 1.83 in his first wave.
I love that second to last turn of Owen Wright. When he gets upside down, gets that tail above the hips, above the lip, and just blast it. It's so fun to watch.
We'll get the score from that last ride and check out the replay right after the break. You're watching the Corona Open here at JBay.
The World Junior Championship has long been a barometer for the next class of Championship Tour surfers. For the second year running, this prestigious event will be held in Kiama, on the south coast of New South Wales, Australia. Just a 2-hour drive south of Sydney, this pristine coastline is the perfect backdrop for the world's best junior surfers to showcase their skills in a hope to become the next World Junior Champion. You can watch the whole event live on WorldSurfLeague.com and the WSL app.
Do not miss the World Junior Championships. We've got our reigning World Junior Champ out there at the moment, Ethan Ewing. Blitzed the field down there at Kiama at the start of the season, but an amazing lineup there, and it often has been a real crystal ball into the future talent that has joined the ranks and gone on to great things. Jordy Smith getting a victory, Joel Parkinson with 2 wins, De Souza on the list. And here we go, Ethan Ewing at the moment having a look at a nice looking wave. This one has a better pace to it. Let's see if he can round out some of these turns. A great start off the bottom, so silky through those big calves. And this wave standing up nicely as he grabs the wall and finds some cover. Wants to get a big finish here. Just seamless in transition. This 18-year-old, such a mature approach.
That was the wave he needed right there. Now, of course, we're down to that 6.5-minute mark. Priority is going to be with Owen Wright, but that's going to be the best wave of the heat. It is a very solid, I mean, that's the thing, out in the face, those beautiful arcs in the forehand, beautiful timing. Here, gets the snap, and then sees the section's going to give a little barrel, so he's going to show some variety, give a little mix. But just lovely pace, not hurried whatsoever. And this is the style of surfing that he can bring. Look at that. Straight top to bottom, gets the clean finish, and he's in this heat now. See again here the water angle. You know, it's just the timing in which he was able to pick up that wave. Owen Wright got his best wave, the 6.67, but it put him in priority for this one. There was only a 1-wave set. So it was perfect for Ethan to get himself back into this heat without Owen picking up any points. You would have heard that score right now and went, all right, I'm in this one.
Well, guaranteed Stradbroke is lighting up right now. Ethan's from Point Lookout. They'd be cheering a 7.33. It is the highest scoring ride of this heat so far, and a real confidence builder for this young Aussie who didn't start competing until he was around about the age of 15. So, you know, you've got to make some comparisons to the other guys on the tour, the rookies especially. You know, the likes of Jean Deroux. He's been competing for a long time, grinding away on the QS. That gives you a certain level of resilience. You can digest those losses a lot easier. Ethan came on, caught fire. Results kept coming for him. Obviously, he's a very accomplished amateur surfer. And until now, you know, he hasn't had that momentum tested at all.
Well, you remember when all of this was happening, it happened really quickly. I mean, it basically was a 12-month period where all of a sudden he's in contention to be on the championship tour, and he was questioning, wait a second, I don't even know if I want to be on tour yet. Like, it was really, he wouldn't commit to it. Of course, having that opportunity doesn't come very often, and to roll the dice and say, hey, I'm not going to take that spot, I'm going to try and re-qualify next year, a la Taj Burrow did back in the day. It's not that easy anymore. There's a much hungrier group underneath there, and to re-qualify again would be very challenging, so he took on this role, and he's learning along the way here, and it's not that easy. He's young.
And history has shown that more often than not, that those guys who have become the media darlings for the surf industry, they've been massively hyped going on the championship tour. That spotlight burns so bright on them. They feel the pressure a little more. You think back to some of the big names that really didn't do too much in their rookie season. Dane Reynolds finished 22nd, Jordy Smith 26th, Andy Irons 21st. Andy was struggling to re-qualify. Kalo Andino 23rd. It's only a very small group of guys that came off the back of an amazing QS run that went on to finish in the top 10. Fanning and Bobby Martinez, I think they're some of the best performing rookies, getting to 5th place in their rookie season. But more often than not, it's the less hyped rookie that really surprises you.
Yeah.
And for examples, you don't need to go any further than Kieran Perro. He wasn't a guy that everyone was really talking about, our commissioner. He finished 7th in the world, so
on his rookie season.
In his rookie season. So it's interesting. You think about Conor O'Leary, yes, he won the QS, but he wasn't the guy everyone was talking about, and a big start for him just sort of seemed to set him on a magic path. He already had the belief straight away that he could take down big names, and it improved his seed, and as a result, he wasn't taking on the title contenders, but, you know, those guys just underneath, and he's done some real damage this year.
It's so true about that beginning of the season, to be able to put results up early. Nat Young did that. You know, he was able to put results up very early in the season on his rookie year, which helped him to keep that momentum going through the full entire season. You know, and he finished just outside the top 10, but he was right there in contention for a few years right out of the gates. And you learn a lot, but the seeding does help.
So just over 2 minutes to go, and it's all going to hedge on what unfolds in these final stages here. Both surfers with a reasonable score on the board. Strider Wasilewski out there watching on. Strider, it's a real gut check when those big swell lines start rolling towards these competitors.
Yeah, you know, I think it is. I think it's just one of those moments where you're just hoping for the right wave to come through. When you're up and you're up at bat, you really just, it's kind of a crapshoot to which swell line's going to come in, how far down the point, how far up the point they're going to come. You know, there hasn't been a whole lot of waves, so executing those waves and actually, you know, that mistake-free surfing that Sean Thompson had talked about the prior days, it's just so tough because you want the right wave every time, and some of these waves are running out wide, and some of them have that slower pace that lets you execute that straight up into the lip surfing. I really love the way Ethan Ewing surfed that wave, though. He's had those 2 big opening turns, and it was something we got to see a little bit of him finally on the face, turning like we know he can. So he didn't look nervous. He looked really comfortable. You know, for him to try and get another wave underneath priority here and try to light one up and get that score that's required and put Owen under pressure would be, I guess, the call right now.
Yeah, just 1 minute remaining, though, and I don't know, Pete. Swell lines can kind of pop up at some locations, but JBay typically isn't one of them. You can see them from...
I mean, it's one of those places when you start to see them, they're coming, you're like, okay, here they are.
Looks like something medium-sized wave rolling through at the moment. 45 seconds to go. Ethan's moving through to the inside, might be having a look at this one. And he is going to go. 35 seconds. He is going to have to tear this thing apart to convert a decent number. Here we go, a couple of nice hits, bit of foam on the face. No problem as he drives up into the lip once again. Multiple turns, drifting the fins. Needs a 5.
I don't think it's enough, Ron. Be great surfing, but it's just the wave height. You know, when you're riding a 2-footer when there's 6-footers out there, it instantly takes that scoring potential down.
I think Owen too, he's been to this location so many times. He's not investing a lot of thought into what is unfolding before that hooter sounds. He's going out there, he's thinking quick start, get a couple of scores on the board. There's big lulls out here at times, establish a lead and then get priority and try and control the final stages. And here he comes on his victory lap. Owen Wright, what a beautiful turn that was. So this one after the hooter, so it doesn't go into his top two, but just a preview of what he can bring to these long walls.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I mean, you'd think that Owen would have held that priority and been able to hold off Ethan from getting one of these set waves, but you never know.
Yeah, amazing stuff there, and a tough result for Ethan Ewing. But, I mean, he's resilient. He's got two older brothers, 10 years older than him. So he's taken some punishment over the years. He'll be right. He'll bounce back. We're going to take a quick break. Owen Wright through to round 3 when we return. Kolohe Andino up against Jadson Andre.